Good morning, Hope City. This is Willie. Gonna be talking to you this morning on Genesis 45, and we're gonna read from 1 through 8 real quick, and we're gonna drop an anchor in verse 5. I said Joseph couldn't stand it any longer, where there were many peoples in the room, and he said to his attendant, "Out, all of you." So he was alone with his brothers when he told them who he was. Then he broke down and wept. He wept so loud the Egyptian could hear him, and word of it got out quickly, carried to Pharaoh's place. "I am Joseph," he said to his brothers. "Is my father still alive?" But his brother was speechless. They were stunned to realize that Joseph was standing there in front of them. "Please come closer," he said to them. So they came closer, and he said again, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into slavery in Egypt. But don't be upset and don't be angry with yourself for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. The famine that has raged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years, and there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your family alive and to preserve many survivors. So it was God who sent me here, not you. And he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace and governor of all Egypt." So we're gonna look at verse 5 is where we're gonna kind of focus on, and it says, "Please don't be upset and don't be angry with me for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives." So Joseph's journey was filled with betrayal, hardship, and waiting. And sometimes we can relate to that in our lives. We feel like we've been betrayed. We're facing a lot of hardship. We're going through some trials, and we go through the waiting stage. That's how Joseph felt. Yet when he finally revealed himself to his brother, he did not seek revenge. He saw God's purpose. Instead of the bitterness, he chose forgiveness. Instead of blaming, he trusted that was in control all along. Like Joseph, we often face trials that doesn't make sense. We feel abandoned, mistreated, or forgotten. But Joseph's story reminds us that God is always working behind the scenes, even in suffering. He has a great plan. So what if, instead of asking why this is happening, we ask God, how is God working through this problem that we're facing? God, trust God's plan. Think of difficult situation in your life, how you can trust that God working for your good, even when you don't see it yet. In Romans 8:28, and we know that God calls everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. Choose God forgiveness. Joseph forgave his brothers, and there's someone you need to forgive today. Ephesians 4:32 reads, "Instead, be kind to each other, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God through Christ had forgiven you." Walk in faith. Pray, and God will help you see his greater purpose in your circumstance. Life is challenges, and we can feel overwhelmed, but God is always in control. Just as he used Joseph's trials for greater purpose, he is working in your life. Trust him, forgive freely, and walk in faith. His plan is greater than you can imagine. Thank you. You guys have a good morning. God bless.